Dillian, the body snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be going through the IBO heavyweight world rankings for the month of February. It's not something that I've ever done before where it comes to the IBO, but I'm doing it because a lot of you have asked me why I don't do it. So I'm going to do it in this video, then I'm going to explain to you why I don't do the IBO rankings. Okay, now, for those of you who've been with me for quite some time, you'll know that each and every month, in fact, I think I'm the only person here on YouTube that actually does it, which is I go through all the sanctioning bodies, such as the WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF. And of course, the Ring Magazine. Ring Magazine, not officially a sanctioned body. We get that, but it's still a very important belt, if we can call it that. It's a Rocky Balboa belt. Now, if you are new to the channel, please click that subscribe button because they are important, and I do explain each and every video what changes have been made from month to month, depending on what fights have happened, what fights are going to come up with certain situations. And it's a good way of predicting what kind of fights could well be happening in the not too distant future. It does actually work. So anyway, here is the IBO. Oleksandr Usyk is the IBO World Heavyweight Champion. He also holds the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO also. Number one is a former IBO World Heavyweight Champion, Anthony Joshua. Of course, he's got that rematch coming up with Oleksandr Usyk. Venue and date pending. Number two is the WBC Interim World Heavyweight Champion, Dillian, the body snatcher Whyte. Number three, Joyce, WBC Silver Champion, European Champion. Is he still the British Champion? Maybe. Either way, the Juggernaut is the WBO Mandatory Challenger in at number three. Number four, the former WBO World Heavyweight Champion, Joseph Parker. Number five, former IBO World Heavyweight Champion, of course unified as well, with the same belts that Oleksandr Usyk currently has with the WBA, IBF, and WBO, Andy Ruiz Jr. Number six, former Natin, never even qualified for the Olympics, King Kong Luis Ortiz. Number seven, the 2016 Olympic gold medalist at super heavyweight from France, Tony Yoka. Number eight, from Cuba, undefeated fighter Frank Sanchez. Trains with Eddie Reynoso alongside Sal Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, and Vasquez, etc., etc. Number nine, Huey Fury. Of course, he is former world heavyweight title challenger. Stepped up quite a few times. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, in my opinion. Number 10, Otto Wallin from Sweden. Only one loss on his resume, of course, to Tyson Fury. In fact, he fought last time out. I met him in Cardiff. Nice guy. Number 11, former world heavyweight title challenger when he fought Vitaly Klitschko in Derek War Chisora. Number 12, Karen Lorena. Now, Kevin Lorena is a South African heavyweight. In fact, we'll get into him in a second. Number 13, Daniel Dubois, the WBA number one. Of course, he will be taking on Trevor Bryan for that WBA regular World Heavyweight Championship. So number 13 is Daniel Dubois. Number 14 is Michael Hunter. Last time out, he got a draw against Jerry Forrest, a guy who he'd already previously beaten. Number 15 is Martin Buccoli. Again, he's got that fight coming up with Tony Yoka. Number 16, I don't usually go past 15, do I? But I'm actually going to go 20 on this one. So number 16 is Deontay Wilder, former WBC World Heavyweight Champion. Number 17, from Kazakhstan, Zhan Kosabutsky. I believe he's actually a Frank Warren fighter. Number 18, Arsene Beck Mcmadoff from Russia. This guy's an absolute beast with a huge financial backing behind him. Number 19, Filip Hrgovic. Of course, he's got that fight coming up with Zhilei Zhang. All going well, of course, for the IBF mandatory. And number 20, Evgeny Romanov, the Deontay Wilder slayer in the amateurs. For those of you who've seen Deontay Wilder getting bounced around the canvas in the amateurs, it was this guy, Evgeny Romanov. But of course, he is the WBC Bridgerweight mandatory challenger to the current WBC Bridgerweight champion, Oscar Rivas. So that is the top 20. Followed after the top 20, you're looking at the likes of Robert Helenius, Fabio Wardley, Ajit Cabello, Jared Anderson, Jonathan Rice, Nathan Gorman, Alan Babich, Jerry Forrest, Murat Gassiev, F.A. Jagber, etc., etc., etc. So top 20, not too bad. Now, why don't I do the IBO World Rankings each and every month? Why don't I do that? Reason being is because it's not a legitimate world title anymore. Now, I understand the history, of course. Once upon a time, it was viewed as pretty prestigious. The likes of, say, Floyd Mayweather held it, Ricky Hatton held it, Chris Eubank Sr., and of course, more recently, Chris Eubank Jr. tried to give it some kind of credence. But it's not really a world title where fighters will go out and try and get. Of course, it's important to some people to get it, but it's almost like a baby belt. It's got no more relevance than a European belt, if we're being brutally honest about it. And I don't like that. I'd like it to be part of the mix. I really would. But it doesn't call mandatories. If you don't call mandatory challenges, then what's the point to it? What's the point of the rankings? What are you going to do with it? There's nothing you can do with it. It's a belt that will go hand in hand with another champion. Another championship, for example, like Usyk. He holds the WBA, IBF, WBO, and the IBO is just a trinket belt on top. You've got Triple G currently at middleweight. He holds this belt as well, but he also holds the IBF. And that's pretty much how it goes. It's just kind of like an extra belt to look good on a ring walk. And for the pictures and that afterwards. That's pretty much how the IBO is. And it is a shame considering its history. But I think overall, the rankings are not too bad. Listen, we're never going to agree on the positions of certain fighters. For example, number 6, Luis Ortiz. Do yourself an absolute favour. That is way too high for a guy who hasn't defeated anybody. Now, number 12, Karen Lorena. He's not ranked in any other sanctioning body. He's not. He's a fighter from South Africa. 29 wins, I think it is, and only one defeat. That one defeat was against somewhat of a journeyman quite a few years ago. You know what, these kind of things happen. But he's a southpaw fighter, decent power. Out of those 29 wins, 13 knockouts. But only 2 fights ago, he knocked out Sefer Seferi. Sefer Seferi obviously was Tyson Fury's comeback fight. He's the second best cruiserweight from Albania. Okay, that guy. So this is the kind of competition that he has been fighting. But he will be fighting Bogdan Dinu. I think it's next month, and it's probably going to be in South Africa, I imagine. Bogdan Dinu was once upon a time the number 1 with the WBA. Even though at that particular moment, within his last 4-fight record, he lost 2. Once against Big Baby Jaramillo, the other one was to Kubrat Pulev, then he defeated 2 journeymen. Somehow found himself ranked number 1 in the WBA. We all know what to think about the WBA, but this is why Daniel Dubois is currently number 1 in the WBA, because he fought Bogdan Dinu and took his position. Yep. Now, overall, it's not too bad. I mean, is Deontay Wilder ranked a little bit too low, being ranked number 16? Now the IBO, this isn't a case of they have a committee sitting around marking people and moving them into certain positions, whatever else. This is actually computerized. But it's no more significant than, say, BoxRec. And nobody looks at BoxRec rankings and takes that seriously, which is why nobody can really take the IBO too seriously, which is a shame, really, because their rankings are not too bad. Compared to the other sanctioning bodies, not too bad. I do think Wilder is very, very low. Now, I don't particularly rate Wilder. I never have. Decent power for sure. But number 16 is a little disrespectful, isn't it? I mean, to have, say, Derek Chisora ranked 5 places above him. You got Otto Wallin there, number 10. Luis Ortiz, number 6, even though he's knocked out Luis Ortiz twice. You see, this is what I mean when it comes to computerized point scoring. Very, very similar to what BoxRec do. This is why you can't take the rankings too serious. Even though, as I said, they're not too bad. They're really not. But what's the point of it? Is the number 2 going to be ordered to fight the number 1 to become the mandatory challenger? No, it's just not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So this is why I say I don't do the IBO. And again, the reason why Tyson Fury is not ranked here is because he is the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. But it is kind of strange how they've got Dillian Whyte there, but yet they don't have Trevor Bryan there. I mean, Trevor Bryan is WBA regular World Heavyweight Champion. It's a legitimate title. And Dillian Whyte is a WBC interim World Heavyweight Champion. So they're pretty much the same kind of belt, just with a different sanctioning body. And it's called something different, isn't it? But either way, it doesn't really matter. I think Frank Sanchez is a little bit too high as well, if I'm being brutally honest about it. But I mean, out of the top 15, you know, at heavyweight, they've got people like Isaac Chamberlain. He's a career cruiserweight. He hasn't fought a heavyweight, has he? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Cash Ali, okay, not bad. Jonathan Rice, of course, he's been doing okay lately. Murat Gassiev, has he had one fight at heavyweight? Maybe two? Again, he's been a career cruiserweight. But they do have some rankings for some fighters I've never heard of. Some of you may well have done, like a Peter Kadiri. I don't know who he is. Justice Huni. Oh, sorry, he's from... he's that New Zealander, isn't he, actually? I think he is. Or he's from that neck of the woods as well. And Albon Perevijaj, I don't know. But this is the kind of names that we're getting to. Hey, listen, just because I can't pronounce them and I haven't heard of them, don't mean that they're no good. They could well be good. It's just that they haven't been given the profile yet by being on our TVs and proving that they are good or maybe not so good. Okay, but anyway, that is the top 20 for the IBO. That's my reasons as to why I don't do it each and every month. But if you all want me to give you all the updates and the changes each and every month as far as the IBO is concerned, hey, listen, let me know. I'm quite happy to do it, of course. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video.